Hey Mom, can I have a quarter? Frigorn here with a video for possible starters, not really build guides. We don't have patch notes yet. It is probably the day before patch notes come out. I think they said they were going to come out on Wednesday in the US. So looking for those tomorrow. But I have a couple of ideas, and they're basically just opposites. So with the new ascendancies that have been revealed for the upcoming Path of Exile 2 patch, two of them stuck out to me as clearly the go-tos. One for offense and one for defense. So this video is basically going to be about: do you want to start with an offensive starter, or do you want to start with a defensive starter? And in my opinion, either one of these are going to be sure things. Um, you're going to be very happy with the talents and the abilities you get from the ascendancies, regardless of what you choose. And I'm sure it's not a surprise based on if you've looked at anything on any of the content creators. This has been discussed by other people, but I'm just going to give my quick take on what I see as the goods and the bads from these two ascendancies. Basically, just the goods. I don't care about the bads. We're going to skip those. So we're going to start with the Amazon, the Huntress Amazon. She is the offensive ascendancy that stuck out to me right away, and I'm going to go over the few points that look really good, and I think they just can't miss. So first, we're going to go bottom. So this line down here, this is our big offensive line. It is just outstanding. You're going to get massive crit chance. Gain additional crit hit chance. This is flat. It's been confirmed in an interview. Flat crit hit chance, 25% of excess chance to hit with attacks. So your overcapped accuracy is going to give you a bunch of crits. So you're going to want tons of accuracy. This is just how you're going to build offense with this character. There's nodes on the tree right now that give increased attack speed for accuracy. I think there's one for Dex 2, which also goes hand in hand with accuracy. I can't comment on that because it might all go away. The patch notes may change the passive tree so much that stuff that we hope to be there is not. But you never. There's going to be something on the passive tree that gives you good benefits with accuracy as well. So you're going to double dip on accuracy, turning it into crit. This could give you another, I think 12.5% is the most more crit chance you could get based on some math that I've seen. Could be wrong, but it's even if you get, in that 10 extra crit and you get a decent spear. I'm assuming you use a spear. You wouldn't have to. You could use any weapon you wanted to. You could use bow. You could use a crossbow. So all of that good stuff. You could use mace if you want to do. Those one-hand maces, I think, have 7% base crit chance, and get a crit roll on there, and then stack some accuracy, and all of a sudden you got a base 20 crit weapon, and it won't take you too much to get yourself up to being very, very, very high crit chance. Second good part of this is keep going down the same line in the tree is penetrate. Using attacks using your weapons have added physical damage equal to 25% of the accuracy rating on the weapon. So this would mean your weapon itself would have to have a high accuracy roll for this to be good. So kind of a pain to make that the case, but it's just what, if you're going to take this node, you would do that. So you could get massive physical damage from this. I think with good accuracy rolls, you could add 200-ish, maybe a little more, on a good endgame weapon. And 200 flat physical is just massive. So these two together, very good, very good. And then whatever you play for skills, see what you like. Like I said, it could be maces, could be spears, could be quarterstaffs, could be anything. This is just for attacks using your weapon. Doesn't specify spear or any of that stuff. So again, this one is just attacks. Doesn't specify any type of weapon. So whatever you decide you want to play, generically good ascendancy nodes for all kinds of different attack-based builds. The other two or three kind of that hit me as being good. Elemental Infusion I'm going to skip because I don't. If you want to do a build where you are going to gain charges and consume them, this is fantastic. It's a huge damage bonus. I think like 600 or something. Because people have seen the infused weapon skill. So it's very good, but you would have to be wanting to play that charge style of gameplay. And if you do, this would be a good one. Otherwise, for a no mind, not even think about it, predatory instinct. You just get casual extra damage at time against harder enemies. You don't, who cares about the white enemies? The blues, you're going to smoke through them with any decent gear anyway. So the tougher fights, you're going to get 50% more damage at times if they have an open weakness. So just by picking this, you're going to get a big chunk of extra damage. The kind of videos that have shown like health bars, imagine this is a health bar, have shown like a chunk like this is open weakness, and then there's nothing, and then this is open weakness. It looks like it might be 25, 50%, get about 50% of the time there's an open weakness, which would, if that's the case, would make this just basically a 25% more damage pick for nothing. So it's good. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to pay attention to it at all. It's just there. Sometimes you'll be doing more damage. Sometimes you'll be doing normal damage. So that's a possibility. Defensively, the one that I like the most is Stalking Panther. I think this is just fantastic. You get the downside of evasion from equipped body armor is halved. Don't use high evasion body armor. Queen of the Forest is low evasion. Not low, but relatively low. It's like 600 or 400 or something. So you'd lose 300 evasion if you use that. Or you could use Cloak of Flame. It doesn't have any evasion, so who cares? You don't lose any. You get the downside is gone, and you get the nice physical damage reduction from that, plus the fire resistance. So Cloak of Flame would be good. Queen of the Forest give you a ton of movement speed. And then you just look for high evasion on your helmet, gloves, and boots to make up the difference. So get good rolls on those three. This is nice. Very good. And you could go with Life Leech from Elemental if you're doing an elemental damage. I assume you probably will. Although this would work with a bleed as well, because bleeds will scale off the crit. So would theoretically work with poison as well if you want to try to scale poison. So anything works there. But if you're doing elemental, this might be nice. So those are 1, 2 possible, 3 possible decent extra choices, and then in my opinion, the no-brainers, this one and this one, Penetrate and Critical Strike. So you got 2 that you take for sure, and you got a couple other options that are good. Yeah, very, very nice little ascendancy. I think you can't go wrong giving this a try on League Start. You'll be happy you tried it. So that's offense. Let's look at defense quickly. We're in the same boat with kind of what ascendancy points do you take? Because in this Smith of Kitava, which right now is my favorite ascendancy, it's when I'm leaning on League Starting myself, because I like the Chieftain from Path of Exile 1 so much, and this basically copies big parts of that. So a couple of unknowns that we're going to get to, and then a couple of absolute certainties that I'm going to get to. And we'll start with the certainties, and that is Goldstoker and Forged in Flame. These are just flat out awesome tank nodes on an ascendancy tree. Getting the gearing simplicity of Goldstoker, modifiers to fire resistance also grant cold and lightning at half their value. So you throw on 50 fire resistance on a piece of gear, it also adds 25 cold and 25 lightning. It just turns average gears into fantastic pieces of gear. Makes it so easy to get your chaos up too, because you don't have to look for cold and lightning on anything, so you just get fire resistance and chaos resistance on gear, a little life roll on some of your defensive pieces, and bam, you're up there with everything. And then the Forged in Flame, this is the big one. The difference from having 75 resist all for Ellie damage and 90 is enormous. It's huge. Quick math, we'll just do a 100-point hit, so you get hit for 100 damage, you have 75 all resistance. We'll say it's fire damage. You have 75 fire resistance. You're going to take 25 damage from the hit because your resistance kicks off 75% of the 100. Now say it's 90. Well, you take 10 damage from the hit. So instead of taking 100 damage, you get 90% fire resistance, you take 10. So you're going from 25 to 10, which doesn't seem like much. It seems like 15, but think of it in percentages. It's massive. It's like almost 60% less damage. So going from 75 to 90 is just an enormous overall damage reduction. So I don't know the exact math on it, but that's basically what it is. So it's huge. And we're talking about much bigger hits from much more dangerous hits than 100. So It's huge. It's just so good. When you have 90 resist all, you feel tanky as can be. Um, so those are I couldn't imagine playing this build and not taking those two. It just seems nuts. Now here's the tricky part. What do you do with the other 4 points? So you got Goofy Smith's Masterwork, which is your you could put all 4 of them in any one of these. Basically, there's no pathing points. It's just put one in there. So assuming you're gonna build smartly and take these two for sure for 4, this gives us. Oh, let me pop back to this real quick. Right now on the passive tree, just with these two and putting up a bunch of extra overcapped fire resistance, you can get to 90 resist all, resist fire, easy peasy. Now if they change the tree and they screw that up, who knows? That could completely mess this up too, make some of these more or less valuable. But if it's still on there, easy peasy to get to 90 LRS just from a little bit on the tree and taking a bunch of extra fire resistance, like 250 or something. Fire resistance will get you to 90 all. So, assuming that's still there, that's what we'll think of. But we don't know. Don't know until we see the updated tree. So, now the tricky part. If any of these are good and they don't all they look bad, basically. Not really knowing what they do. The only one that I really think has potential is Manifest Weapon. If you can get it depends how it works. Is it something that scales off levels, kind of like totems do, or is it something that scales off the weapon damage itself, and you and your living weapon are going to be fighting side by side doing damage, and you want a good hard hitting weapon? Does it require a mace? We don't know any of that stuff. So until we know what this and this and this really do, hard to say. So I'm going to go into this with the safe thought that if these all suck, you take these 4 and then you pick 4 out of here. And there's 4 here that are clearly better. And it's basically you're taking every single ascendancy point to make you tanky. So you use your tree to make you more offensive. So you get all your tankiness from the ascendancy, and everything offensively would just come from your tree. So stuff that you look for is leather bindings, fantastic, huge regen, biggest chunk of regen you can get anywhere in the game right now, unless the tree changes again. Very, very good. 20% increased strength, awesome, fantastic. Take a bunch of strength, it gives you flat life. Body armor grants increased max life, massive. There's hardly any sources of this in the game, so massive, massive, massive. And then, in my opinion, the last one that's no-brainer, Molten Symbol. Body armor grants 25% of physical damage from hits taken as fire damage. So with the downside of this is you can only use white body armor. You can't use any blue, which is magic, yellow rare, or orange, the unique ones. So you have to have a white one. So you look for a good base with a good implicit, and then as far as I could tell, you could probably still pump some runes into this. So Kryptonite, get 3 runes or whatever and stick them in there. So what I would do is build this with life regen, because I think there's a base that has up to 2.5% life regen. Combine that with this and you get 7.5 life regen right off the bat from your armor, and this is fantastic. There's one with spirit. You could get a nice base spirit, which would be very good. So you can play with this, but pick something with a good implicit, because you will still get those points from the white body armor. So again, what I would say for pure tank, not knowing what these do, now these could be good. It could be fantastic to have both living weapon and temper weapon at the same time. You buff your weapon, you animate it with living weapon, and all of a sudden you've got an extra powerful weapon fighting with you, and you have it in your hand as well. You could be doubling massive amounts of damage. I don't know. Nobody knows until the patch notes come out. But what I do know is if you take these two and the 4 that I said, Molten Symbol, leather bindings, support straps, and Katava engraving, you will have 8 fantastically tanky ascendancy points. So it's you won't be upset with that choice. Even if these are good, this is still a great choice. Like I said, you just get your offense from the tree. Um, I did a totem build last league to start with. This guy would be fantastic for that. I could just make myself super tanky, use a weapons that give me Titan's giant strength or whatever that Titan's thing is, so I can wield two-handers. Because this would make it so much easier to get that extra strength that I need to do that. Um, have massive level of my totems because they scale off gem levels with two-handers in there, and just hammer the whole thing out with totems again. It would be a great build. So not really how I want to play this league start because that's how I did the last one, but I know it would be effective. So yeah, really really good stuff. Can't wait to see what the patch notes have in there. um, Once I see them, I'll probably do a real guide on what character I plan to league start, whether it's offense with the Huntress and the Amazon, and who knows what I'm. Like I said, I don't know what I've been playing skill wise or anything. I haven't even thought about it. I'm just looking at what offensive stuff I get from this great line here on the ascendancy tree, or oops, or the wonderful defense you get from Smith and Katava. You can't go wrong either way. You'll be happy. You'll have a smooth league start with either of these guys, and that's that. So you could actually, I talk about this one more time with minions. You could take these two and the four that I said here and go into a pure minion build where they do everything for you and you just have to stay alive, and this will keep you alive. So there's lots and lots of stuff you can do with this guy. He gives you so much open-ended defense, and the other one gives you so much open-ended offense. So not sure if this video has been super helpful for people since I don't have any details on the patch notes, like I said, but I hope it gives you confidence that you can start either one of these characters and be very happy with it in League Start. If you like this content and want to see more, please hit the like and subscribe down below, and have a good day, and thank you.